Hello. In the last video I talked about my favorite standard opening and discussed some of the pros and cons of certain upgrade paths you can choose. In this video I'd like to talk about some of the more risky plays you can do as a Marine Commander. Starting with the Shotgun Rush. There are certain variations of the Shotgun Rush you can do. Let's begin with the fastest one, the really fast Shotgun Rush. Basically this means you have to drop an armory in base, which everybody will power build, and you research shotguns. Then you just send everybody to an offensive position, so if they spawn in sub, of course you send them to either comp lab or ventilation. I think in this case comp lab might be better because it's sort of easier to assault a hive from this position, in my opinion. And once the Marines arrive here, well, you should be able to have shotguns at that time, in which case you need to recycle the army in base and drop it in comp lab, which everybody will build. Then everybody will take their shotguns and just rush the hive. It's really simple. You might want to consider not sending all your Marines through a central location. In general, if you take the shortest route, it's good, but sometimes taking a route that's less prone to scouting can pay off, because then the aliens will see it coming later and they might not be fully prepared. So in this case, if you send everybody through flight control, that might mean they scout it a bit later than if you send everybody through cross. So once you're doing this, there's two things aliens can do. They can try to defend it with all the skulls, or they can try to rush down the CC faster than you can kill the hive. So it's always a bit of a gamble. In general, if they try to defend it, you have 5 shotgun marines versus 5 skulls, maybe 6 if the commander hops out, so you should be able to take it out if they try to defend it, but it's never guaranteed. You never know. If they get some good bites or you miss some shots, it's gonna be losing a lot of shotguns and not getting any RTs up in the beginning, so it's gonna be GG after this if it fails. You might want to save up some res after you've dropped the army, or you might just want to recycle the army after everybody got their shotguns and drop a blueprint CC somewhere. In case the aliens take down the CC, they still have to get the blueprint down, and which might buy you enough time to get the hive down. Now, in my opinion, the main problem with this sort of fast rushes is that alien commanders tend to not expand as fast as maybe in the earlier builds, in my opinion. So they might not have been able to spend all of their, maybe not have spent much T-res the moment you try to rush the hive, so they might still be sitting on enough T-res to drop a second hive, in which case most of the times you will lose, because it's gonna take too long to take down one hive and then run to another tech point and take down a second hive that's not fully grown, but still gonna take you some time. And if the aliens rush the CC, they only have to get down the blueprints afterwards. So this is a problem with really fast shotgun rushes. You can do another variation of a shotgun rush, is sort of delayed shotgun rush, and you can maybe do 2 sort of delayed shotgun rushes. One would be the very standard opening to start with, only you don't drop a second IP, but you drop an army and make sure you get enough RTs up a bit, like in the first 2 minutes. And then at some point you want to drop, you want to get the shotguns researched and then send everybody to this location, for instance, and drop another armory if you have enough res, maybe recycle one in base, and then basically tell everybody to rush base. The advantages of this is that most of the times alien commanders by this point will have spent a lot of T-res on expanding and reinforcing certain locations, so the chances are less that they'll have enough T-res to drop a second hive, which means you have bigger chance of winning. And then there's another sort of delayed shotgun rush you can try, is just to disguise it as a sort of relocation. So instead of sending everybody to this point and getting an army up, you basically send everybody to the middle of the map. You drop a CC, and you drop an IP, recycle the one in base, and you sort of play like you would play a relocation. And then in about maybe just before the rugs pop out, preferably, you just do the same thing, get everybody to here, get some shotguns, and rush the hive. This is maybe less good than the other sort of standard delayed shotgun rush, because if skulks see a lot of people moving to cross, they might call out a shotgun rush, another relocation, and they might drop a second hive anyway. So yeah, this is sort of the shotgun rush. Another high risk, high reward strategy is a relocation. In this case, you want to send all of your guys to the tech point that you want to relocate to. Most of the times, the center tech point is the best for relocation, so in this case this is cross. Basically drop your CC, drop an IP. Remember to tell your marines to build the power as well, because it's something sometimes is forgotten. And once this is done, it's generally best to keep at least one guy in base, and also maybe get mines up if you can spare the rest, but most of the times you won't be able to. You can also drop a second IP. If you're low on rest, you might want to consider recycling this anyway, because you don't want people to respawn on this side. You want them to spawn on the central location. And yeah, basically once this is set up, you want to have two guys, at least two pressure here, and then maybe two or just the one pressure here, so you have double pressure all the time, leaving one guy to cap behind RTs, so you get your rest established. It's not that big of a deal if you can't hold a lot of rest. The most important thing is to use this central spawning location to really pressure the harvesters and really delay the life forms long enough. This is the main goal for relocations to be successful. If you focus too much on trying to cap and defend the RTs behind you, then you are not gonna be able to delay the life forms long enough, and eventually you will lose. One thing you will always have to check though is it's pretty common for aliens to do the gorge tunnel behind your relocation area, because then they'll be able to munch down the RTs more easily. I've also seen alien commanders just grow a hive on this once they take down the ECC, just drop a hive here. And this is gonna cause troubles for the relocation strategy, so you need to check on this from time to time. But other than that, once you get this set up and you get the pressure going, you can just get the upgrades out. You don't need phase gates in this situation, because you're already in a good spot anyway. You just need to send your marines out and kill some harvesters. Another sort of risky play you can try out is fast upgrades. So basically this means that instead of dropping an armory and a second IP, you just start out with an arms lab and you rush weapons, or maybe you can still get armor 1 and then rush weapons, or you can go straight for weapons 1, weapons 2, weapons 3 as fast as possible. This will give you a really good advantage in the early game against skulks and even lurks, and eventually even against phase, because you can never go wrong with fast weapons upgrades. Of course, the way to do this is by not dropping a second IP and not dropping mines, so this is why I consider it to be a risky play as well. Now on this map, Summit, it's less risky because it's pretty easy to defend the lanes going into your base. You only have to, in this case, only have to worry about this vent. But you can sort of easily block out this lane if you send one guy to this, one guy here, and you can get one guy going here all the time, and it will prevent skulls from getting into your base. But if they do get into your base, even just one, maybe two skulls can do a lot of damage. because you just don't have any defenses up. So this is risky, but it can pay off. So of course less risky if you are playing with very experienced players on the field, and if you are not playing with experienced players, I would not recommend this, because chances are higher you'll have gaps in your defense and skulls will get through. And once they take down the armory, and well, they might not go for the army, they'll probably go straight for the IPs, and then you're in big trouble. I've also discussed the pros and cons of going phase gates early in the last video, saying that going phase gates means you're delaying upgrades, which is sort of bad, but you're gaining map control, which is sort of good, so it can depend on how well you execute it. So I would still consider rushing phase gates to be quite risky, because if it fails, it's gonna be a really big setback, because most likely if it fails you won't be having any upgrades by the time the fades pop out, and if you have to deal with fades without any upgrades, it's gonna be really hard to to hold map control. But it can still pay off if done right, and on some maps, maybe not Summit because it's really small already. But if you do want to try it, basically all you need to do is drop an army in base. You can build it yourself, you can keep one guy in base, you can get everybody to power build it. Doesn't matter that much. If you want to do it really fast, you just get everyone to power build it, and then you drop an ops. Maybe get everybody to power build it as well, or you can just build it yourself, and then once it's up, you get the phase stack. You should be able to get some RTs up as well. You don't get mines, you don't get second IP with this, it's just rushing the phase gates. Then once phase gates are done and you are sitting on 3 RTs and you have enough res, just drop one phase gate in base, and you drop a second one, and well, it depends. You can drop it in a central location and then try to sort of use it like a relocation, having 2 guys pressure each side from it, and then keeping 1 guy on the phase gate, because you always need to defend the phase gates anyway. Otherwise they will go down too fast and too easy. You need to defend those phase gates once you get them. Or you can get triangle up if you have enough res, and this will really lock down part of this map and allow you to block lanes and keep up your RTs behind them. So if done right, you can accelerate the rate of the upgrades you can get in, because after you get the phase gates, you just get the armor slab in base, and if you're holding on to 5, maybe 6 with this one, you can get the upgrades really fast and then still be in a good position once the phase pop out. Also, you can use this phase gates offensively to just pressure even faster and delay life forms as well. But of course, if you lose the phase gates, it's a lot of res investment, and it might set you back really badly. One thing you can do once you go for the fast phase gates is follow it up with an arc rush. It's not pretty common because of course it's also a big res investment, both phase gates and arcs together. But on some maps, like Tram for instance, it can work out actually. The goal is to basically arc the hive before they get the second hive up, before they get the phase up. You probably won't have enough time to do it before the lurks get up, but I guess you'll have to deal with the lurks then, with the LMGs. So basically this is just getting 1 phase gate. You don't have enough res to get 2 gates up, I think. You can try it, but it will delay the arc rush, so it's probably better to just get 1 offensive phase gate and then hold 2, maybe 3 RTs if you can. You should be able to hold 2 at least, and just drop the robo, upgrade to robo factory, get some marks. You want to sort of delay dropping this robotics factory because you don't want the aliens to see what's up. You want to kind of save up enough res until you can get the robo factories dropped. You can get enough rest to upgrade it and get at least like 2 arcs out. So the moment you drop the robotics factory, you want to get out the arcs as fast as possible, and you need to save up the rest for that. But yeah, once you got the arcs, you just send 2, 3 minimum to the hive and just blast it and defend, of course. Hopefully the aliens won't have a second hive up by then. If they do, well, it's just gonna be it's gonna be up to you to move the arcs all around the map and defend them as a train until you get to the second hive and then blast it again. You might also want to save up for a second CC in case they try to rush it. That's about it. But I'm talking about robotics factory, I might also mention the sentry rush.
Research complete.
This is not linked to phase gates. Basically, you want the sentries to act as phase gates. You will start with getting the robotics factory up as fast as possible in base. Getting some 2-3 RTs up, and then starting to lock down key points on the map with sentries. So cross will be your okay location. Also try to set up your sentries in this sort of position where they cover each other and still cover the area itself. So this sort of acts like a phase gate. If you keep one guy on it with the sentries, you can sort of hold control of this part of the map, which means you can drop this RT and build it. After this is done and you have enough rest, you can maybe get even more offensive sentries and this sort of locations. And then you can drop this RT and hold it, and if you keep one guy here and one guy here, you can have one guy maybe capping behind, and this will sort of do the same thing as a sentry phase gate triangle, only it's slightly more risky, even more risky than phase gates. It also works better on smaller maps because then you don't have to run as fast to reinforce in case these guys get taken out. If you're doing this on large maps, by the time you are able to rescue the sentries, they're going to be too late, most likely. But it's a funny sort of tactic and can be quite annoying for aliens to deal with. They might not know how to deal with it, so it can sort of pay off. An even more riskier play would to be sentry rushing the hive. Would be like shotgun rushing, but just getting sentries up and sort of dislight location and just focusing them on the hive and just covering the sentries yourself. Last risky strategy I wanted to talk about was the Exo Rush, which is extremely uncommon because Exos are, well, I wouldn't say they're bad, but they're a liability, and I would not recommend rushing Exos anytime, but you can still try it. Maybe aliens will be caught off guard, not knowing what to do exactly against them. So basically, when you do the Exo Rush, you also have to not go for second IP, not go for the mines or shotguns, and not go for ops. Basically, you just want to get the armory up, upgrade it as fast as possible, get the prototype lab as fast as possible, and get the Exos as fast as possible. Then, if you're able to hold 3 RTs, maybe 4, you should have 40 PRS, I think, to get the Exos at that time. In which case, you can get 1 Exo to stay in base for defense, and then get maybe, let's say, 3 Exos and 2 welders. No, you can't do that. It's gonna be 2 Exos and 2 welders, unless you hap out yourself, but I wouldn't recommend that anyway. So maybe 3 Exos, 1 welder, depending on how lucky you feel. And basically you would be going straight for the hives. The Exos don't give you any map control whatsoever. They're just too too slow and unflexible for that. Extra rush is just for getting the hive down and keeping one in base to defend it, your own base. So that's it for the special tactics, the riskier plays you can do. In later videos, I'll try to discuss sort of the game flow of standard games, discussing what your goals should be for the early game, the mid game, and then how to finish off hives in the late game. And I hope you will check those out as well.